When the phone rings, I'm instantly pulled into the tension that simmers beneath the surface. The voice on the other end feels unsettlingly familiar, yet I can't quite place it. It's like hearing an echo from the past, something long buried but suddenly resurfacing. That alone grips me, a sense of dread creeping out my spine. The tone of my voice shifts almost instinctively. I'm professional, controlled, but there's a layer of caution, a protective shell. On the other end, there's a desperation I can hear, almost palpable, as if every word is a plea for understanding. This contrast between our voices, mine firm and guarded, his tinged with vulnerability, sets the stage for something far deeper than what's on the surface. It's a clash of emotions, a stark reminder of something unresolved. As I listen, my emotions rise: anger, betrayal, resentment. It's all there, tangled in the words we don't say, in the space between each sentence. I know the source of the tension, but it's a pain that I can't shake. That anger comes from a place of hurt, of promises broken, of trust shattered. Yet, even as that anger builds inside me, there's also a part of me, a small, quieter part, that wonders if this could somehow be the start of a different chapter. This phone call doesn't just set up the plot, it lays the foundation for a conflict so raw, so deeply personal, that you can't help but want to know more. It pulls you in, makes you ask, what really happened between these two? What's the story behind the distance? It's the beginning of unraveling something far bigger than just a simple conversation. I close my eyes, and it's almost as if I can still feel the warmth of those days. The memories rush in, so vivid, so full of life. There was a time when the world felt safe, when my parents' love was the foundation beneath everything I knew. I can still hear my mother's laughter, light and carefree, echoing through the house. My father, with his gentle smile, always there to guide me, to comfort me. I remember the simple things, the way they'd hold hands, the quiet moments of shared looks that spoke volumes. Life seemed perfect then. It's hard to reconcile that image with the empty space that exists between us now. The contrast hits me with such force it almost feels like a physical blow. Back then, we were a team, bound together by love and warmth. But as I replay these memories, I feel the sharpness of what's missing now, the pain of a family torn apart, of a happiness that's long gone. It's almost unbearable. I'm flooded with the realization that everything that felt so secure has crumbled. What hurts the most is how deeply I once believed in that love, how strong my bond with both of them was. I see now that those days, those carefree moments, weren't just childhood bliss. They were the foundation of who I am, built on the stability of their love. The way they used to encourage me, protect me, and show me that no matter what, I was safe in their care. The world was bright then, and I had no idea that it would one day shatter. It feels like such a cruel twist of fate to have those memories of joy now tainted by the harshness of the present. The warmth of my mother's embrace, the gentle strength of my father's advice, all of it is a stark contrast to the coldness between us now. What happened to those days? Where did it all go wrong? How did we go from being a family that couldn't have been more perfect to this painful reality of silence, of distance? This flashback isn't just about nostalgia. It's about understanding where it all began, about seeing the roots of the love that once bloomed in our home. It's in these moments, in the laughter, in the feeling of being safe and cherished, that I start to understand the depth of what I've lost. And it's in this loss that the present pain becomes even sharper. I want to hold on to these memories, these precious moments that feel so distant now, but I can't help but feel the weight of what's been taken from me. It's not just about remembering what once was, it's about realizing that this was the reality, this was the love, that we were supposed to have forever. And somehow, somewhere, it slipped away. The doorbell rings, a sound that seems to echo louder than it should. I don't know why, but the moment I hear it, my stomach twists. It's as though the air around me shifts, charged with something I can't quite place. When I open the door, there she is, Marissa. A stranger in my home, yet not a stranger at all. Her icy demeanor hits me like a gust of cold wind. Her eyes are sharp, calculating, as if she's already sizing up the space, the people, the situation. It's unsettling. There's no warmth in her smile, no softness in her voice. Just a cold, controlled precision that immediately raises the hairs on the back of my neck. I try to shake it off, to welcome her as one would a guest, but something about her presence makes it impossible to feel comfortable. The way she looks around the room, the way her lips curl into that tight, knowing smile, it's as if she's already taking ownership of this space, this family, even though she's a stranger. My instincts flare, telling me that I don't trust her, that something feels off. But what is it? As she steps further into the house, I can feel the atmosphere shift. The air seems heavier, the light less welcoming. Her arrival has disturbed the fragile equilibrium that we had. There's an unnatural tension between us, a distance I can't close, even with polite conversation. The longer she stays, the more I can't shake the feeling that she's here for a reason, and it's not just about meeting us. She's more than just a passing figure, she's a storm on the horizon, a disruption to everything I've known. The way she looks at my father, it's as if she knows something I don't. I see the flicker in her eyes, a kind of knowing that feels like it's being hidden beneath layers of politeness. And then there's the way she speaks, so calculated, so precise in everything she says. It's not just the words, it's how she says them, like she's in control of every situation, every interaction. The more I observe, the more I feel that something is brewing, something that has been set in motion the moment she walked through that door. I want to ask her why she's really here, what her intentions are, but the words stick in my throat. The tension between us is palpable, and it's growing thicker with every passing second. I can't shake the feeling that she's not who she says she is, that her role here isn't just about being another face in the crowd. There's something darker at play, something I can't quite understand yet, but I know it's coming. With every interaction, every word exchanged, the sense of unease deepens. Marissa is no ordinary visitor. She's not just a guest in this house, she's a force, and I can feel it. What is she really after? What does she want from us? I can't stop wondering, and with each passing moment, I find myself drawn deeper into the mystery of who she really is and what role she's about to play in our lives. It starts off small, barely noticeable at first. Marissa's little jabs, her subtle insinuations, and the way she brushes off every concern I voice. I try to ignore it, tell myself it's just her personality, but then things begin to escalate. A shirt of mine goes missing, and when I find it, it's been ruined. The fabric's torn, the color stained in a way that's impossible to fix. I confront her, asking if she knows anything about it, but she dismisses it with a cold, almost rehearsed shrug. Accidents happen, she says, as though it's no big deal. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just the sharpness in her voice, laced with something that feels like satisfaction. Then, there are the comments. Under her breath, but loud enough for me to hear. Little remarks about my habits, my choices, as if she's always looking for something to criticize. At first, I laugh it off, thinking she's just a little difficult to please. But then the cracks start to show. It's in the way she asks me to do something, and when I do it, it's never enough. You could have done it better. Why are you so lazy? The words slice through the air, each one more cutting than the last. She knows exactly where to strike, and every time I try to stand up for myself, she shuts me down with that same indifferent smile, as if I'm overreacting. It's all in the tone. The way she belittles me with nothing more than a few well-placed words. And my father! He doesn't see it. Or maybe he just chooses not to. He barely acknowledges the tension, the hostility that's mounting. His indifference is more suffocating than anything Marissa could do. When I bring it up to him, his response is always the same: "Don't make a fuss. She's just trying to fit in." But it's not fitting in. It's manipulation. It's control. And I feel it tightening around me like a noose, a constant pressure, day in and day out. The worst part is how alone I feel. I used to think that family was supposed to protect you, but now, with every passing day, I feel like I'm drowning in my own home. I look at my father, and all I see is a man who's already made his choice. His silence speaks louder than any words could. I'm invisible to him, a non-entity in a house that's becoming less and less mine with each passing moment. It's as though I'm slowly disappearing, fading into the background, while Marissa moves in, taking over everything. I'm stuck, trapped in this endless cycle of cruelty and neglect. I want to scream, to fight back, but each time I try, it's as if the walls around me get higher, thicker. And when I look for support, I realize I'm standing alone. There's no one left to turn to. The isolation is suffocating, and with each day that passes, I can feel my resolve weakening, my will to escape slowly slipping away. How much longer can I take this? How long before I break? It's not just the things she does anymore, it's the feeling of being trapped, cornered, with no way out. The worst part is the doubt creeping in, the part of me that wonders if I'm the one in the wrong. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe I'm imagining all of this. But deep down, I know I'm not. It's all real. And it's getting worse. It's one of those moments that feels like everything is crashing down at once. I'm sitting there, in the classroom, staring at my desk, trying to focus on the lesson. But my mind keeps racing, the weight of everything pressing on me like a 100-pound anchor. The tension in my chest is unbearable, a tight knot that won't loosen. I've been pretending for so long, convincing myself that I can handle it, that it's all just temporary. But today, something inside me snaps. I don't know what triggers it, but I can't hold it in anymore. It happens during a quiet moment after class, when the other students have filed out. I'm still sitting there, hands clenched on my notebook, and my teacher notices. She doesn't say anything at first, she just watches me for a while, her eyes soft, filled with concern. Then, without warning, she sits down next to me. "Are you all right?" she asks gently. It's the way she says it, with real care, that breaks me. That's when it all pours out. I can't stop the flood of words, the tears that spill down my face as I tell her everything. The constant cruelty. The isolation. How I feel like I'm suffocating, trapped in a house where no one sees me, where no one cares enough to help. How it's been building, slowly but surely, until I can't even recognize the person I am anymore. I don't expect her to understand, but she listens. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't brush it off as just family drama or tell me I'm overreacting. She just listens, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I feel heard. It's like a weight lifts, just a little bit. But even as I'm sharing this painful truth, a part of me wonders if it will make a difference. Will anyone believe me? Will anyone help? But then, I face the most gut-wrenching reality, my father. When I finally muster the courage to tell him, to explain to him exactly what's been happening, what I've been enduring, his reaction is nothing like I expect. I thought maybe, just maybe, he would see it. Maybe he would understand. But no! Instead, his face hardens, his eyes flicker with disbelief. "That's just how she is," he says flatly. "You're being dramatic. She's part of the family now. You need to accept it." And there it is. The crushing blow. The person who should have been my protector, the one who should have stood up for me, is the one who turns away. His refusal to even acknowledge the abuse, to even try to understand, leaves me numb. It's like I'm invisible to him, like nothing I say matters. And the worst part is that I'm not surprised. Deep down, I've always known that he was never going to be the hero in my story. I've always known he would choose her over me. I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of betrayal and despair. I want to scream. I want to fight back. But all I can do is cry, the tears falling faster than I can wipe them away. I've never felt so alone, so abandoned, in my entire life. The one person I thought I could trust is the one who's failing me the most. And in that moment, I realized something even more painful. It's not just about what's happening with Marissa. It's about how everything I've been through, all the hurt, all the isolation, has led me to this moment of realization. I have no one. Not even my own father. This is my breaking point. This is where the story changes. It's one of those moments where everything seems to slow down, and the weight of it all presses on my chest until I can hardly breathe. I can't take it anymore. I've been silently screaming inside for so long, and now I need to say it out loud, even if it tears us apart. I have to confront him. I have to tell my father what's really been going on, what Marissa has been doing. I feel a knot in my stomach, a wave of nausea, but there's also something else, a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, if I finally speak the truth, things will change. Maybe he'll believe me. I find him sitting at the kitchen table, his back turned, sipping his coffee as if everything is fine. As if we haven't been living in a house full of tension and lies for what feels like forever. I take a deep breath, gather every ounce of courage I have left, and say her name. Marissa! Dad, I need to talk to you about something. About what's been happening with her. My voice trembles, but I push forward, each word feeling like it's ripping me open. I tell him about the way she's been treating me, how she's been tormenting me in ways he doesn't see, doesn't hear. I beg him to listen, to believe me. I tell him everything, the small cruelties, the whispered insults, the things she said and done that have left me feeling like I don't exist in my own home. I try to make him understand how much I'm suffering, how isolated I feel, how hopeless everything has become. But then I see it. The moment. His face hardens. He doesn't say anything at first. He just stares at me with this blank look in his eyes. And my heart drops into my stomach. I already know. He's not going to believe me. Not really. I don't know what you're talking about, he finally says, his voice cold and dismissive. You're just making things up. Marissa's part of this family now, and you need to accept that. His words cut through me like a knife. They're not even the words I wanted to hear. They're worse. So much worse. They're the words of someone who has already chosen her over me. And in that instant, it hits me harder than anything else has. He doesn't care. All the years of hoping for his protection, for his love, have led me to this moment. This crushing realization that the person I thought would always be on my side is the one who has failed me the most. He won't listen. He can't see it. He's trapped in his own denial, so consumed by his need to keep things peaceful, to keep this family intact, that he can't face the truth. And I feel so small. So utterly invisible. I scream inside, but the words don't come out. My body is frozen, trapped in this unbearable moment of complete and utter rejection. This isn't just about Marissa anymore. It's about the fact that my own father has chosen to stay in the dark, to deny the truth, to protect her instead of me. I stand there, my whole world shattering, and I realize something I should have known all along. I'm on my own. It's just me. And the pain of that realization burns more than anything Marissa could ever do. The confrontation was supposed to bring me relief, but all it's done is push me deeper into this pit of betrayal. This is it. This is the breaking point. I've never felt more alone in my entire life. The silence in the house is suffocating. My father's words still echo in my mind, but they've lost all meaning now. It's as if the truth I laid bare before him never mattered, never reached him. I can't stop replaying the moment, the empty look in his eyes, the coldness in his voice when he denied everything. I should have expected it, but somehow, I didn't. I thought, in some desperate part of me, that maybe he would see what I was trying to show him. But now, I'm left with nothing but the aftermath of that rejection. I'm alone. It's strange how you can be in a house full of people, but still feel like you're the only one in the world. My father is downstairs, living in his own world of denial, and Marissa is somewhere around, probably smug in her victory. It doesn't matter that she's still the villain. The real monster is the one who has the power to stop it but chooses not to. I never thought it would come to this, but here I am, trapped in my own home, with no one to turn to, no one who believes me. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the weight of everything pressing down on me. It feels like I'm sinking into the sheets, deeper and deeper, as if the bed itself is swallowing me whole. The room is dark, except for the faint glow of moonlight sneaking in through the window. It's in moments like this, in the stillness, that everything feels more real, the isolation, the pain, the hopelessness. I can't escape it. I can't even move, not really. Every part of me is paralyzed by the weight of it all. I try to close my eyes, but the images won't stop. The faces of everyone who's let me down flash through my mind, my father, standing there with that blank expression, and Marissa, who seems to thrive in the chaos she's created. I want to scream, but the sound won't come. The feeling of helplessness is overwhelming, a constant hum in the background of my thoughts. I want to scream out that I'm not crazy, that I'm not imagining this, that what's happening to me is real. But there's no one left to listen. I wonder what comes next. Will it ever end? Will I ever find a way out of this suffocating existence, or is this the new normal? Will I ever feel like I'm seen, heard, or believed again? Or will I always be the one left behind, forgotten in the wake of other people's choices? I don't know the answers. What I do know is that I've been forced to grow up faster than I should have, to shoulder a weight no one should have to bear. And now, I'm left alone with my own reflection, wondering how much longer I can keep pretending that everything's okay when nothing ever will be. The walls around me feel like they're closing in, and I don't know how to fight back anymore. The uncertainty is what lingers the most. The unresolved questions hang in the air, suffocating me, leaving me to wonder if I'll ever escape this.